This week in gaming, Epic Games has released over $12 million worth of game assets for free, a new character has hit Overwatch, and some steps are being taken to reduce toxicity within the game, the Jet Set Radio-inspired Hover receives cross-platform multiplayer, we have fresh details on the Oculus Go, pre-orders for the HTC Vive Pro opened up, Electronic Arts is seeking a lead online engineer for an open-world Star Wars project that's probably not 1313, and happy GDC to those attending. This is 1RBC Gaming Weekly. First off, hot news for fans of classic adventure games. Cyan, developer of Abduction, the upcoming Firmament, and the Myst series, have announced that they'll be releasing updated versions of all the games in the Myst series, making them available for Windows 10. Also, there's a special collector's edition with a, quote, cool artifact. Myst was originally released in 1993. 2018 marks the game's 25th anniversary. Believe it or not, this groundbreaking adventure is a quarter-century old. Are you excited for these remastered Myst games? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, and be sure to share your thoughts. Great news if you're a game developer. Epic Games has decided that the remains of Paragon shall not be going to waste, and they've released the game's assets for use with their Unreal Engine. Now, in case you're out of the game development loop, Epic Games is the developer behind Paragon, a MOBA that just couldn't find enough of an audience to be profitable. However, they've recently seen tremendous success with Fortnite. Epic offers the Unreal Engine, a set of tools for game developers that's available to be downloaded for free. So if you're looking to make a game and you're wondering where to start, the Unreal Engine is a fantastic option. If you're looking for art assets, environments, objects, even characters, these Paragon assets are well worth your consideration. Epic has released assets for 20 characters thus far, and we're planning on releasing more in the coming months. These are thousands of assets, and it's pretty unusual for this sort of thing to be released for free. It's clever PR on Epic's part, and a great way to pull people into using their engine. This week, THQ Nordic announced that they'd be working with Nickelodeon to revive a number of games connected to some older Nickelodeon cartoons, including The Wild Thornberrys, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Rocko's Modern Life, and Avatar: The Last Airbender. From the looks of things, they're planning on re-releasing older titles rather than making new ones. Don't be surprised if the SpongeBob games from the PS2 days wind up on Steam sometime soon. According to the announcement, on-shelf availability will be announced in the coming months. Are there any games in particular that you're hoping to see released? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool and let us know. Personally, I was a bit surprised to see My Life as a Teenage Robot show up. Turns out, the characters from the show wound up in Nicktoons' Attack of the Toybots, which was a sort of crossover game.
In the end, I can't let him fight alone.
In Overwatch news, this week a new support hero, Brigitte, excuse my Swedish, Brigitta Lindholm, was released on the game's main servers. Her healing ability functions a bit like Symmetra's old shields, albeit they're a bit more substantial. Also, she carries an energy shield for herself, rather like Reinhardt. Hers, however, is quite a bit smaller. She's an odd tank support hybrid, and she's pretty fun to play as, if perhaps a little overpowered at the moment. In other Overwatch news, a new feature meant to combat player toxicity was introduced. Avoid as teammate. Bear in mind, there used to be an option to avoid specific players back in 2016, but it was removed due to a few issues. This time around, you can avoid 2 people maximum for up to a week. When you're avoiding a player, they'll wind up on the opposing team, but not on yours. The feature is currently live on the game's test servers right now, and personally, I think it's a great idea. If somebody chooses to play a character, 4th DPS, who you think isn't especially helpful, and said person refuses to cooperate or communicate, you can avoid them. This is a step below reporting the player, because such offenses aren't quite considered serious enough to warrant being reported. While it's also possible to block as many players as you want, the blocks only seem to prevent communication. You could still wind up in a game on the same team as a blocked player. If you find yourself avoided by a large number of players, the game will warn you about what's going on. This definitely feels like a step in the right direction. I'm hoping it leads to a better community for Overwatch.
So we think this one will fix itself very quickly. As with all of our systems, we're paying very close attention. We hope that you enjoy having more control over your experience in Overwatch, and we're going to continue to bring features to you that let you craft the experience exactly how you want it to be. Thanks so much.
In virtual reality news, this week at GDC, Oculus VR unveiled the Oculus Go to the public. The device, which had previously been teased, is a wireless standalone VR headset that doesn't require a PC, with the caveat, of course, that this won't be running PC games. The device will sell for about $200, runs a custom version of Android, and includes a controller. Now, is the market going to be there for this device? There are some interesting VR experiences available on mobile, but for the most part it seems that the best of VR is still on PC. Is the Oculus Go meant for people who want to take their virtual reality fun on the road? For folks who want to try out VR but aren't yet ready to invest in a gaming PC or in PSVR? If they're the audience, this could be great. What do you think about Oculus Go? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, and be sure to share your thoughts. In other VR news, HTC opened up pre-orders for the Vive Pro and unveiled its price of $799. They also reduced the price of the original Vive by $100, bringing it down to $499. The Vive Pro has a resolution of 2880 by 1600. That's 78% higher than the original Vive, along with integrated headphones and enhanced tracking. The Vive Pro is set to begin shipping by April 5th. You may want to consider it if you're in the market for a VR headset and have a bunch of money to blow. Then again, you may want to hold off until Oculus VR finally unveils their Santa Cruz model, which doesn't yet have an ETA, but offers wireless PC VR gaming right out of the box.
We hope that you really enjoy these products. Thanks. Talk soon. Bye.
Nintendo this week held their Switch Nindies showcase. That is, indie games coming to the Nintendo Switch. They started with Mark of the Ninja Remastered, a stealth game which was released some years ago by Clay and will be receiving a special edition on Switch, coming out this autumn. Bomb Chicken is a title that stood out to me. It's a puzzle platformer in which you play as a chicken. Duh. This chicken has gained the ability to lay bombs instead of eggs after being dipped in the special sauce. Bomb Chicken is set to be released on the Nintendo Switch this summer. The announcement that excited me the most from Nintendo's showcase was the entire Banner Saga trilogy, which will be coming to the Switch. The first two games are coming out soon, and the third is still in development and is set to be released this summer. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with the Banner Saga, what you should know is that it's a fantastic series of Norse mythology-inspired tactical RPGs. Think along the lines of Fire Emblem gameplay, with storytelling that draws inspiration from King of Dragon Pass. Your choices between games carry over. The series gained a bit of awkward notoriety when Candy Crush publisher King filed a trademark dispute against Stoic for having the audacity to use the word saga in their game series. The case was dropped, thankfully. A while after the showcase, Nintendo also announced that the challenging atmospheric platformer Hyper Light Drifter would also be coming to the Switch this summer. Inspired by the works of Studio Ghibli, The Legend of Zelda, and the creator's own congenital heart defect, it's a fantastic, albeit difficult game. I've played quite a bit of Hyper Light Drifter, and while I've not gotten very far in the game on account of my being bad, I assure you that it's well worth checking out.
Once upon a time, there was a world torn by endless war, and peace was a distant dream. Then came a great king, one who would change this world forever.
In-game releases this week, Ni no Kuni 2: Revenant Kingdom was released on Steam. This JRPG from Level 5 has a very familiar art style. If you're a fan of Studio Ghibli, you may recognize it already. The first game in the series was developed in conjunction with Ghibli. While the sequel did include some work from Ghibli animator Yoshiyuki Momose and composer Joe Hisaishi, Ghibli is a bit less involved in this one. That said, it's still receiving fantastic reviews from both players and press. It may not be Ghibli in name, but there's still Ghibli in the game. The game's premise is pretty wild. Roland, our protagonist, was president in his own world, until an attack somehow sent him to the game's fantasy world, wherein he meets Prince Evan, who's about to be crowned king after his father's suspicious demise. The gameplay is quite a bit different from the original. The turn-based battles are gone, everything is happening in real time now, and there are some RTS elements and, incidentally, kingdom management bits to the game now. It's an incredibly ambitious title, and from what I've heard, this ambition has paid off. Ni no Kuni 2 is available on Windows and the PlayStation 4. If you're looking for a nautical adventure, great news. Sea of Thieves was released on PC and Xbox One this week. Developed by Rare and hyped by Microsoft to the moon and back, Sea of Thieves is a multiplayer-oriented open-world pirate game in which you're tossed into a tropical paradise and have to survive as a pirate, digging up treasures and such. Though I've not tried it, the reviews are in, and the general consensus is that while the game's tremendously exciting at first, it starts getting repetitive a few hours in, with randomly generated fetch quests that don't do a whole lot to differentiate themselves from one another. Apparently, there's not enough content in the game to justify the $60 price tag. It's a big, watery world without a whole lot to do. Now, plenty of people love the game's potential, but say that there's just not enough content in there. Have you been playing Sea of Thieves, and if so, what do you think about it? Is there enough to the gameplay, or was it not yet ready for release? Hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, and let us know what you think. We'll be happy to share your thoughts on our next episode. Released last week, Burnout Paradise Remastered is now available for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. A fantastic racing game from the last generation, this open-world racer drops you into a city full of awesome challenges. You perform stunts, race with other cars, collect new cars. It's a whole lot of fun, and it seems that no other racing game has come close to it in the last 10 years. This remastered edition of Burnout Paradise doesn't add much to the base game. The game can now be played at 4K if you have an Xbox One X or PS4 Pro. A souped-up PC edition of the remaster is set to be released later this year. The reviews for the remaster are pretty positive. Reviewers note that while the game doesn't really have new content, DLC that was previously released is now in this remastered edition, so think of it as the ultimate version of the game, it seems that nobody really has anything bad to say about Burnout Paradise Remastered. If you've not played the original, or if you'd like to return to the streets of Paradise City where the shiny cars gleam and the roads are gritty, you'd better take this game home. Sorry. In crowdfunding news this week, the Kickstarter for alternate history RTS Iron Harvest went live. I'll let the Kickstarter trailer speak for itself.
Hi guys. So, a couple of years ago, we stumbled over these amazing artworks by Jakub Rojałski that showed mechs and strange machines in early 20th century rural landscapes. We actually thought that was about the coolest thing we'd ever seen, and that it would be the perfect setting for the RTS we'd always dreamed about. The chances of this dream coming true were pretty slim, but here we are. This is Iron Harvest, a classic real-time strategy game set in the alternate reality of 1920+. It's an RTS where the outcome of a battle is determined more by strategy and tactics rather than clicks per second or the size of your unit blob. A game with base building, a cover system, and destructible environments. A game where strong single-player campaigns are more important than DLC and long-term monetization opportunities. So we talked to many RTS fans, and we conducted a survey with over 15,000 participants and listened to our community to find out what you guys actually want from a modern RTS. We combined your feedback with our own ideas and came up with a gameplay that gives you enough time to explore all your options, come up with a plan, execute this plan, and adjust it on the fly if necessary. Tactical depth combined with player freedom. That is basically what the Iron Harvest gameplay is all about. But we also felt that there was something else missing in many RTS games, and you guys agreed with us in the survey. It's time for another really great RTS campaign. We've been hard at work with Jakub to evolve the world of 1920+, and to develop new units and heroes for Iron Harvest. We came up with an epic story and 3 overarching campaigns, one for each playable faction in the game. We're passionate developers with over 15 years of experience, and we've already got 3 successful Kickstarter campaigns under our belt. But no game before has energized everybody involved as much as Iron Harvest has. This is our dream project, and we're well on our way. We've built a strong foundation for the game over the past year. We've found our visual style, evaluated different technologies, and we've got an early demo up and running already. The next step is to start working on the campaigns, to implement multiplayer, and to expand our asset production. But to make this happen, we need your help. With your support, we can stay independent and come up with an uncompromised version of our vision. So first, we want a strong focus on great campaigns, including state-of-the-art in-game cinematics. We also want to add a co-op mode and competitive multiplayer modes. We need skirmish and challenge maps for single player, and most importantly, we need the time to do the job right. In return for your help, you'll not only get a better game, you'll also get it at a discount during the Kickstarter campaign. You'll also have the opportunity to buy special editions of the game. And, depending on your pledge, you'll be able to play alpha and beta versions of the game far in advance of everybody else. This is the most exciting project we've ever worked on, and the response has been unbelievable. We hope you're as excited about Iron Harvest as we are. So please support our Kickstarter and tell your friends about it. Thank you.
Finally, we leave you with a trailer for Catan VR, an upcoming virtual reality adaptation of beloved board game Settlers of Catan. Enjoy. That's it for this week's game news. For all the greatest game news, interviews, reviews, and more, be sure to check out @OneWillBeCool on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me at Jordan_Cameron for my own views. Don't forget to tune in to 9-Bit on Roku. There, we've got fresh interviews and reviews going up early. You can catch them first there. In fact, it's the first place you're going to want to look for our upcoming coverage of PAX East 2018. As always, it's happening in Boston, and as per usual, we'll be checking out some of the most interesting games from the show floor. Be sure to tune in for our coverage.